15th day of the first month of the year, and I've forgotten how large your family was. We were born in Texas on a cotton farm, and believe it or not, he still owns the cotton farm in Texas.
Wow.
And the other thing that's kind of unusual about Nelson is, and there's nobody in this room who's going to be able to touch this, but he worked up until what year? How old were you when you finally decided that it was time to cash in the chips?
About 3 years ago, I told myself, I'm tired, I don't need the money, I'm quitting.
At 90 years old. And he worked at Luke Air Force Base. The other thing I'm going to mention about him is not only was he an eyewitness to history, my understanding is you're the only surviving African American living during the Pearl Harbor attack that was in service. Is that correct?
I don't know. There's a couple guys on a paper I had. They're 106.
Oh,
Wow.
But you didn't give a lot of detail about it.
okay. Anyhow, come on in, if you would, and let me make sure the microphone's working. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I am very happy to be here, and this is a surprise to me because I didn't know what they wanted with me to come and speak to you. And but anyway, it's delightful, and I'm happy that some here that I've been knowing, and then I had the driver sheets shoved me around. Very grateful for her attitude of carrying me different places, because I don't see too well at night, no more than around the house, but I'm very thankful that she's able to show me around, because nobody else knows these places but her.
And that's Marion. Thank you, Marion.
I'm going to run a little history down on you about, as they say that I was in Pearl Harbor, and at that time, well, first I'm going to tell you about, I was born and raised in a town named Bivin, Texas. That's right about 20 miles from the border of Louisiana, and not too far from Arkansas, about 35 miles. It would be south of Texarkana. And the town, at that time, if I'd have known that we don't have much, I would have brought you some pictures and things about just what was going on then. My father and actually my grandfather, I never knew either father. I mean, even my grandfather was the name, I forget his name, what his name. But anyway, they settled in Texas, and my grandmother, she was the one that always, Mommy Jane, that always took care of everything. And I didn't know nothing about too many of them. And so what I did was, I did try to write down a lot of different things that they did. And by me being born to Nelson Mitchell, 8 children, and 4 of the children died of TB. That was when I was about 6, I must be about 18 years old. They, my 2 sisters, Saria, she was the oldest, and then Marie was the next, and I was the third. And So I had a brother down, all the rest of them was boys. That was Leandris, William Myers, and Risden, and let's see, Ariel. Anyway, it was 6 boys. We all grew up on the farm, and at the time that we all worked. And so my father and them, they were able to buy this farm. And so we were, all of us worked from, and the only time we got anything was probably some candy, or that was a donation or something. And so they would tell us about different things, and we had to work. And I always tried to do my very best. And I worked day and night. And so finally, when I got to be, got to be a certain age, but then they let me plow. And we had this farm, we had all types of things on the farm that was able to eat. And then we had cotton, and we had to pick this cotton by hand. And so I picked, I was not a very good cotton picker. but my mama, she could pick 200 pounds of cotton before you turn around.
Wow.
And then, and also one of her brothers, he was able to pick 300 or 400 pounds of cotton a day. And what he did was, sometimes if they didn't get a certain time, if they wanted to carry it to the, get it to the bale, they would even pick at night. And so they were good farmers and everything. They raised practically everything that we had, except we didn't have any like flour and sugar. We didn't have that, but we had to buy that. When we got it, but then still there was certain things that like sugar, we make ribbon out of that, and so that was what we used for sweetening. So they, when I came up and got to be a certain age, but then I went to school. I did pretty good in school. And then when while I was going to school, I went to school in Marshall, Texas, which is about 35 miles from the south of where I was living at, where we were living at. And so what happened was, there was, my 2 sisters went to school, and what they did was, they went to school, and then they stayed with a lady. Her name was Triplet. And so, evidently, there was one lady that stayed with them, and evidently she had TV or something. But anyway, when they came back in the summertime, after they had to go to school, stay in Marshall, Bishop College. But what happened was, when they came back, in the summertime, they found out that they had TB. And so that was a very bad thing to catch, because they had no way to cure it. And so what we did was, my parents did the best they could, but out of the family, there were 4 of them that died. The 2 sisters older than I died of TB, and then I had 2 more brothers died of TB. One, the third one, died. He had TB, but he was able to get over it. And then I had another brother, the baby brother, Ariel. He was actually in the drowned in Fort Knox, Kentucky. That was soon after. It was during World War II. But nevertheless, we had a hard time, but then still, so far, all of them are gone. And many more that I knew is gone, but I'm still here. So why I'm still here, I don't know. But I feel pretty good. I'm not able to walk and do things like I used to, but I'm still able to practice, and I'm able to, I say by myself, I'm able to cook or do whatever is necessary. And by the way, when I was in the Navy, my job was, I didn't know how to cook when I first got in the Navy in 1940. But then I must have got the book from home when my mother sent them to me, and they taught me how to cook. My brothers, all of them cook, but I was the one that worked on the farm. I loved to work on the farm because I could plow, and I got to take care of the mule, take care of the chickens, we had turkeys, and also we did a lot of hunting. And so I was one who did a lot of that too. And so I had a pretty good life. I can't complain about it, but I didn't never get TV. But I was evidently, must have been strong enough because I had block sinus. Block sinus was something that you have. I went blind, and I stayed in a coma for about 3 or 4 days. And the doctor had that was taking care of me. He said, "Well, I got rabbit fever." Well, I said, "What kind of rabbit fever? I ain't been around no rabbits." But since he said that, and later on, my father carried me to this other doctor, and this other doctor discovered that I had block sinus. And so he got over that, and so I wasn't ever sick no more. But my sisters and brothers, all of them, they had to be quarantined, kept away from the rest of the family or whatever, because at that time, wasn't nothing you could do about TV. But we could go to a place there around, I think it was in Corpus Christi, Texas, where you could go, and there was a hospital there that you could go to. My older sister went there to a hospital, but at that time they said, "Well, she's too far gone, we can't do nothing for her." And then Marie, who was next one, she stayed, and she did real good. Marie was an A student, and she went to high school there in Marshall, Texas. And she was only went there 2 years. She was the salutatorian of that school, and they had about 600 people, the students, all black, were going to this school. And the only reason she didn't get a big valedictorian, she hadn't been there for 4 years. And so she didn't go there, went to another school, and went St. Helena. It went to about 2 more grades before you beat. But they did good and everything. But sorry but my sister Marie was really smart. And she was anything for me. I went to that school 1 year, and but then after 1 year, then that's the time I got fever. So I went blind and things like that. But nevertheless, I've had a pretty nice life so far, and I've come a long way. And I said all the time, I said, whenever the good Lord sends me, I must go. But nevertheless, by being almost 94, but I hope I can make it these other few days.
Nelson, I have a question for you. What motivated you to get into the service?
The question was, what motivated me to get into service? Well, at the time I had been in CC. My father and them needed money in the Civilian Conservation Corps. That's where they sent young boys, and they sent the money back home. And we were getting, I kept, it was $30 a month. I kept for, it was $9 be a little bit more than that, but not about. And I sent the other back home to my father. Get ready to uniform on.
And what, do you recall, when you got assigned, after you went through your basic training, did you go directly to Pearl Harbor?
No, did I go to Pearl Harbor after my basic training? No. First thing we did, where they sent me to training, all the blacks, they sent them to Norfolk, Virginia. But where I was, they sent me first to Little Rock. From Little Rock, then to Soviet, and I got on the train, went on to Norfolk, Virginia. And that's where I did the 2 months. And so they didn't let me, well, I didn't go, and after I did 2 months, that way you did all your basic training, what they taught you how to do different things and everything. So that's what I did was, and so I was, and so after the 2 months, we graduated. I could swim. One of the main things was you had to swim. I could swim because we swam in creeks and branches. Well, the little water was. We never had. We did. There was some people had swimming pools